Welcome to Digidesign's User Tools, an interactive guide supplied by the technical support group at Digidesign to help navigate you through some of the new and improved features that you'll find in 4.0 Pro Tools. Welcome to User Tools. This initial release was designed to address 8 new important operational differences between Pro Tools 3.2 and Pro Tools 4.0. From loop recording and additional automation features to QuickTime movie support, you'll find specific informational demos on the listed table of contents. Also included is the Answer Base, a runtime version of the powerful and informative database used by the technical support team at Digidesign. You'll be shown how to use this database as an encyclopedia of troubleshooting techniques and symptom solution-based searches on over 5 years worth of collected information related to Pro Tools and the audio recording environment. More new and exciting information will be made available to our users between versions of User Tools via our webpage located at www.digidesign.com. For more information on how to contact Digidesign, check out Digidesign Contact Information. Future releases of User Tools will cover much more. From installation questions to thorough explanations of complex synchronization issues, this application is designed to give you a more in-depth tutorial than the usual included README document. It's important to note that User Tools was not designed to replace the README, just enhance it. Please always refer to your README document when working with a new release of any Digidesign application or hardware component. From any point within the demos, you'll have total freedom to navigate back to the table of contents and select any of the other listed topics. As seen here, you have access to the index button. The left arrow button will take you to the beginning of the currently playing segment. The pause button will pause the movie at any moment. In the middle of the toolbar, the name of the current segment is shown. And on the right side of the toolbar, you will see any keys or key commands that are typed. And now, on with the show. To hide or show a track, just click on its name in the Show Hide bin to the left of the window. Additional choices are found here in the pop-up menu. To group tracks for mixing and editing, click on the track name and shift-click to select additional tracks. Then select New Group from the Group pop-up menu. The New Group window appears. We'll name this group Bass plus Piano. We'll have this group apply to both the Edit and Mix windows and click OK. Notice that the group name appears highlighted in the groups list. This means that the group is active, and any edits performed will affect all tracks in the group which are showing. Tracks which are hidden will not be edited even if they are part of an active group. Clicking on the group name will deselect it, thereby temporarily suspending the group from having any effect. Mix groups affect volume levels, solos, mutes, and automation modes. Notice that Pro Tools 4.0 has relative fader grouping. Each fader will maintain its relative level while a fader in the group is moved. In Pro Tools 4.0, there are 5 different automation modes. When a track is set to auto off, all automation is ignored and is not played. When set to auto read, automation plays, but it will not record. When set to auto touch, automation will only record if a parameter is touched. The parameter will auto match, meaning it will ramp up or down to the next automation point when the slider is released. When set to auto latch, automation will only record on a parameter that is touched. The touched parameter will latch, meaning it will continue to overwrite any existing automation for that parameter until Pro Tools is stopped. When a track is set to auto write, it is in absolute write mode. All automation for the track is overwritten, regardless of what parameters are touched. Let's automate an EQ plugin on this drum track. First, add the EQ as an insert. Then the automation parameters need to be chosen. I'll pick frequency and gain, and press Add. Only these two parameters are now automatable. Notice the sliders are green because this track is set to auto read. Now we need to enable automation. I'll set it to auto write because this is the first pass on the track. I'll narrow the width to make the effect more pronounced. And I'll give the EQ band a 12 dB gain. Now I'll press the spacebar to begin. Let's look at the automation that was written. To do so, click and hold on the Track Format Display selector. Notice the insert appears with the parameters that were enabled earlier. Let's choose frequency, since that's the fader I moved during playback. Now the automation can be edited. Pro Tools 4.0 has a new fade window. Previewing audio from within this window is directed to Apple Sound Manager. In order to hear this audio from your Digidesign hardware, you need Digidesign sound drivers to be in the extensions folder of your startup drive. Pro Tools 4.0 automatically installs this file into your extensions folder. To route the Mac sound to your Digidesign card, go to the Sound control panel in your System folder Control Panels. Select Sound Out, then choose Digidesign. Since all Macintosh audio, including system beeps, will now go to your Digidesign hardware, you may want to reduce the volume, which you can do so here. Somewhere towards the middle is probably a good place to start. Loop recording can be enabled from the Options pull-down menu. The letter L appears in the Record button of the Transport window to indicate that loop recording is enabled. Now I'm almost ready to loop record some piano. First, I need to record enable the track and select the amount of time that I wish to loop record over. Now I'm ready to record 3 takes and then I'll press stop. Since I pressed stop before the halfway point on the 4th pass, the record file is truncated to the first 3 passes. In the region bin, you can see that the 3 passes of the loop record appear, along with a 4th region, piano-01-00. This region is the entire sound file which was recorded during the loop record process. Command clicking on the region brings up a list of regions that have the same user timestamp in the session. This is a quick way to audition the multiple passes of the loop record. The Transport window is activated from the Display pull-down menu. Here, the length, start, and end times can be displayed and set, just like up top in the Edit window. The Transport window is also where you can set and enable pre- and post-roll. The Session Setup window gives you a shortcut to some of the hardware setup settings, as well as the timecode settings for the session. Notice that the window size can be reduced by clicking in the top right corner. This saves some space on screen, but remember, the window may need to be expanded to make the timecode settings visible. Pro Tools comes with a handy new Big Counter window. This window allows you to view and set the current session time. As with all numeric entry fields in Pro Tools, you'll notice that as you type, the numbers scroll in from the right, like on a calculator. The Automation Enable window allows you to globally enable or disable automation arming or playback. The Auto Suspend button will temporarily disable all recording and playback of automation, like the Ignore Automation option in Pro Tools 3.2. The buttons below allow you to enable or disable automation arming for specific parameter types. Now, recording and volume automation is disabled, which would prevent any fader movements from getting recorded. Be sure to check this window before recording extensive automation. The system load meter indicates how full the Pro Tools automation buffer is. If this meter reaches full, your system may not be able to accurately reflect the automation you have recorded, and you may need to thin the automation data. The Memory Locations window displays a list of the memory locations sorted by number. Here are 8 locations that I have created in my session. Locates can be recalled by clicking on them. The first 2 contain a time or selection. The next 2 hold Track Show Hide memory. Notice the change in the Show Hide window. Locates 5 and 6 hold track height information. Locates 7 and 8 hold zoom settings. You can double-click on a locate point to modify its name or parameters that it holds. OMS is required for MIDI and timecode capabilities in Pro Tools 4.0. The Pro Tools 4.0 CD-ROM automatically installs the OMS installer onto your hard drive. One OMS feature which can interfere with Pro Tools is Use Serial DMA when available. This is found in the OMS Setup application. Select Preferences from the Edit window. Next, uncheck Use Apple Serial DMA driver when available, as shown here. Then click OK. If you are using a Digidesign SMPTE slave driver, you need to create it as a device in your OMS setup. Select New Device from the Studio pull-down menu. Give the device a name, such as SSD. You can uncheck the controller, multi-timbral, and MIDI channel buttons, as these parameters do not apply to the SMPTE slave driver. Make sure to check Sends Timecode and Receives Timecode as shown here. Lastly, you need to connect this device to the appropriate port, either modem or printer. Here's an OMS tip. You do not need to quit Pro Tools in order to make changes to your OMS setup. Changes will be updated immediately after switching back into the Pro Tools application. The Pro Tools Preferences window is found at the bottom of the Setups pull-down menu. You'll notice that the Preferences window is divided into 5 separate categories: Display, Operation, Editing, Automation, and Processing. All Pro Tools 4.0 owners now have the ability to spot to a QuickTime movie. From the Movie pull-down menu, select Import Movie. Choose a QuickTime movie on your hard disk. Now you'll notice 2 new items appeared. The Movie window, which will display the current frame of the movie, and the Movie track. This track allows you to view the individual frames of the movie. The number of frames visible depends on the current zoom level and the track height. This track can be moved vertically like any other track. The movie itself can be slipped horizontally in order to play back at your desired start time. Welcome to Digidesign's Answer Base, a version of the same database that is used by Digidesign technical support team on a daily basis. It is comprised of information from Digidesign engineering, tech support, and end users to provide answers to many common yet complex issues. The answer base consists of 3 windows: Search, List, and Full. You can look up information based on any combination of 3 parameters: software, hardware, and a keyword. By selecting multiple parameters, the answer base will find topics that are more specific. Start the search by clicking the Begin button. In this example, I will select Bridge I/O from the hardware pop-up. Now I will click on Search. A list of records containing information about the Bridge I/O will be displayed. Look through the list and click next to the appropriate subject. If this record does not apply, click the triangle button in the upper left-hand corner to go back to the list, or click New Search to redefine the search. Power users might opt for another way to search in the list or full screens. You can search for information based upon your own keywords. This is done by clicking on the Power Find button. For instance, if you are experiencing 9073 errors in Pro Tools, type Pro Tools 9073 in the subject field, and press the Enter key on your Mac keyboard. A list of records that contain information about DAE 9073 errors will be displayed. Look through the list and click next to the appropriate subject. If this record does not apply, click the triangle button in the upper left to go back to the list, or click the New Search button to redefine the search. If you are experiencing problems getting an ADAT to work with Pro Tools, type Pro Tools ADAT in the subject field, and press the Enter key on your Mac keyboard. A list of records that contain information about the ADAT and Pro Tools will be displayed. Look through the list and click next to the appropriate subject. If this record does not apply, click the triangle button in the upper left to go back to the list, or click the New Search button to redefine the search parameters. Here's a couple hints for searching. If your search does not find any records, simplify the search parameters. For example, Pro Tools Sync instead of Pro Tools Synchronization Dropout. In Power User mode, searching for Sync might find more records than Synchronization, or Launch might find more records than Launching.